Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Got question Chase, has got the facts. Talking NFL numbers, he's got your back. A little chart trend ball, man, he's got it like that. Chasing data by do champions. Chasing data applies to everyone. Chasing data, yeah, we're live today. Chasing data for always. Chasing data by do champions.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Chasing Data. We are about 3 minutes behind tonight, but we are finally live. We are almost to the end of these power rankings. We've been doing them for quite some time at this point, and we are making it to the top 5 as of tonight. I think the first one's pretty much hinted as if you look at my background, but if you're not familiar with what I've been doing since the offseason has started, is breaking down every team 32 all the way to 1 in the order that I feel that they should be ranked going into the 2025 season. It's basically my power rankings, but based on stats and analytics. Not as much X's and O's as what the numbers say. So enough about that. Let's go ahead and look at where we're at right now. Ooh, not that one. There we go. And we are currently, there we go, all the way up to number 7. Who were the Washington Commanders? Last week we did the Broncos and the Commanders. These teams are quite polar opposite, being that the Broncos have a okay offense, can definitely improve, but their defense is probably going to be top 3, whereas the Commanders have a defense, but their offense could be top 3 or even the best in the league, especially on their best of days. So we'll get right into who number 6 is. Like I said, it's already been given away by my background, but it is the Los Angeles Rams. So, with the Rams, last season they were 10-7. Their over-under right now is 9.5. I realize that my power ranking of them being at number 6 is much higher than what probably many others have them, but I feel like on their highest of highs, they definitely deserve to be at number 6. Like I said, 10-7 last year. Their current over-under is 9.5 wins, with plus 2,200 odds to be the champs. That's the 10th best odds according to the sports books. So 10th to 6th, a little bit of difference there. But like I said, I'm very high on them on what they can be. And we'll get into why as we get into this more. But plus 1,100 to win the conference, which is 6th highest odds. So they're just the 6th highest favorites to win the conference. And I want to say that I have them as the 3rd best in the NFC. 3rd best team in the NFC, but the sports books have them as the 6th best, or the 6th most likely as far as betting goes. So we'll see about that. But they're plus 195. They're not even favorites to win the NFC West, which was crazy to me. I mean, I assumed that they would be. I know San Francisco had one of the worst seasons as far as adjusted games lost from injury last year, but the Niners are still favored. I mean, the Rams are currently plus 195. I want to say the Niners were plus 150. So it's rather surprising that they're second, in my opinion. Last season, they started 1-4. They didn't finish the season 9-2. We're not going to count that Seattle game because they didn't play anyone. I mean, they didn't play any of their starters, so who cares what happened in that game. Head coach Sean McVay still, ever since he's been there, he's been successful pretty much. Some of his achievements include being the youngest NFL head coach hired in the modern era. He was hired at age 30. He's the youngest coach to win a Super Bowl at age 36, I want to say, yeah. And NFL Coach of the Year in 2017. Franchise wins leader. He achieved that in the past season. Offensive coordinator is Mike LaFleur, offensive coordinator. I mean, he and Sean McVay work very closely together. And Sean McVay is basically, this entire scheme has Sean McVay's handprint all over it. Defense coordinator Chris Shula, who came in last year, and I mean this front four. I mean he could just say, "Oh, look at my front four," and that's good enough for him. Nothing more needs to be said. Let's bring up their depth chart here. So, if you're not familiar with the Ourlads depth charts, the way you read this is that the red are players who are more likely going to start on the PUP list, Alaric Jackson, which we'll discuss momentarily. The yellowish orange are the players that are the free agents that they signed in the offseason. The pinkish magenta color are the ones that they drafted, and the teal are the undrafted free agents. So, their additions in the offseason. Start on the offensive side of the ball. First and foremost, Devontae Adams. They are able to get him on a 2-year, $44 million contract after the Jets cut him. I mean, Aaron Glenn's in there cleaning house. Devontae Adams, at the time of signing, had the 18th highest wide receiver contract as far as average value goes. Last season, he still put up crazy numbers. I mean, his ability to produce on the field is still top tier. 85 receptions, over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, and that was just in 14 games. He even played a full 17-game season whenever you look at what happened in Las Vegas when they were trying to figure out if they were going to trade him or what. He was 15th in yards. I mean, if they get this production again, which I feel is very possible, this offense, the rich just get richer. They bring in Coleman Shelton, which I believe is quite an underrated addition. He's more likely going to be the starting center for this team, and we know how important it is for Matthew Stafford to be upright at all times in this offense. Also, bring in David Kessenberry, some depth on that offensive line, and DJ Humphries. They re-signed Alaric Jackson, but he was one of the best up-and-coming offensive linemen in the NFL, and they re-signed him to a 3-year, $56 million contract. But his season's kind of in question at this point due to the blood clots. Is he going to be able to play? I'm not really sure. So in comes DJ Humphries, kind of a late offseason signing. They brought him in, and he very likely could be the starting left tackle to open the season in Los Angeles. DJ Humphries is not of the same level or play style or playability as Alaric Jackson. Will definitely be a step down, but they got a good bit of depth on this offensive line. The rest of it is quite solid, and it's very key for Matthew Stafford to be upright at all times. So that's the offensive side of the ball. No one else really of note that they signed in free agency. On the defensive side, they bring in Nate Landman from Atlanta, and they bring in Poona Ford. Poona Ford is such an underrated player. I can't believe they went out and signed another front four player. I mean, they have already, you know all these names. They have Byron Young. They have Jared Verse. They have Kobe Turner. They have Braden Fisk. They had very easily a top 3, if not the best defensive front four in the NFL last year, and they're all like age 25 or younger, which is ridiculous. But they go get Poona Ford, who is worth every penny. Get him on a 3-year, $28 million contract. He had a solid above-average season for his play style. 3 sacks, 39 tackles, 19 QB pressures. But what he's most underrated is in the fact that he is such a run stopper, run plugger in the middle of that front four. I'm guessing he's going to come in here and start. He's going to be – they're going to rotate. It's going to be Fisk, Poona Ford, Kobe Turner, Byron Young, Jared Verse. How are they going to manipulate all those on the field at the same time? I'm not really sure, but they kind of went the same route as the Giants, and the Giants, they have quite a few front four players that they can rotate in and out of that defensive line in New York. So with that said, let's see what we got next. That was their additions. They extended Matthew Stafford. There was a moment in time that there was speculation that he could end up in New York as a Giant. They ended up going a different route with Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Jackson Dart. So they give him the money that he wants. and probably deserves. I mean, it may have been a little bit of an overpay, but you got to keep your franchise quarterback. Don't reset it yet. They are definitely in the Super Bowl window if things all align correctly. So you definitely don't want to let him leave. Looking at their draft picks, let's bring up their draft here. Trade their first round pick for next year's first. It was some more, but they traded it to the Falcons, who end up taking another lineman. They took James Pierce, I believe. And a very desperate move by the Falcons. I definitely would take an unprotected first round pick from the Falcons in 2026 every day of the week and keep on. They take Terrence Ferguson in the second round. He was, I mean, he's the all-time leader in receptions, touchdowns at Oregon. Had 134 receptions, 16 touchdowns, had the fastest 40 of all tight ends. When you watch him, he can make defenders miss. He can develop into a better route runner, but I mean, he's still crisp with his cuts as is now. You have him behind Tyler Higbee, might get some two tight end sets in this offense. See a lot of motion in this offense. I feel like he fits perfectly into what Sean McVay wants. We've had the last few years where Tyler Higbee had the injuries. So having Terrence Ferguson as another pass catching threat in this offense for Matthew Stafford is the rich just get richer. In the third round, they take Josiah Stewart, an outside linebacker from Michigan. Had some productivity at Michigan. Is he going to see the field with this front four? We shall see. Fourth round, this was an interesting pick in my thoughts. They take Jarquez Hunter out of Auburn, the running back. And, I mean, when you look, let's bring up the depth chart again. Looking at their depth chart, I mean, we all know they have Kyron Williams. They have Blake Corum, who they drafted last year in the third round. He was solid as a backup. He did have, he broke his forearm, I want to say, late in the season. So they bring in Jarquez Hunter. I mean, I think they're looking for more explosiveness out of the backfield. And Jarquez Hunter could be that player for them because even though Kyron Williams is great and is a bell cow type running back, they were very low when it comes to the number of explosive plays they had in Los Angeles last year. So I think they're looking for that extra piece to give them a little more burst out of the backfield. So they go with him in the fourth round. Let's go back to the draft board here. Fifth round, Ty Hamilton, a defensive lineman. You can see him on the depth chart here. He's going to be buried deep in that depth chart, I'm sure. Fifth round, they get Chris Paul Jr., who I thought would go way earlier than that in this draft. I had him going in some mocks in the third round. So for them to be able to get him in the fifth round, when they need a linebacker, I mean, over the past few years, I feel like the Rams have just said, hey, we're bad at the linebacker position, and that's just what we're going to roll with. We know that's our weakness, and we're going to build around it. They get the front four that is quite amazing, to say the least. Secondary's up and coming, but that front four is what covers up some of the linebacker issues. All right, let's see. And then they finish up in the seventh round taking a flyer on a wide receiver in Kanata Muntfield out of Pittsburgh. So subtractions. Let's go back to their depth chart. Looking at their depth chart here, subtractions they had were really on the offensive side of the ball. They lost Cooper Kupp, as we all know. We saw the writing on the wall for a while there. He was aging. He's had the injuries. He did get the Triple Crown. What was that, 2 years ago now? Or this will be 3 now? Got the Triple Crown, receptions, touchdowns, receiving yards. And ever since then, the injury bug's just been on him. That's the only way you can put it. They take the dead cap hit, which was a huge number, and move on from him. Which, I mean, his replacement is probably better if healthy. Devontae Adams, more of an X receiver. He and Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua kind of overlapped, I want to say, in their play style. So having Devontae Adams in there as your wide receiver too is quite great for if you're a Rams fan. They also lose to Marcus Robinson, who would have 3 touchdowns in one game and then not have a touchdown for 12 games straight. But I mean, they do, like, their wide receiver room now is Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Tutu Atwell, the speedster, and Jordan Whittington, who came on great later in the season. So I mean, honestly, Kanata Mumpfield could get some play in this offense. The depth is not there necessarily for this offense, so he could get some run. Like I said, on the defensive side of the ball, they didn't really lose anything of note. All right. Strengths of this team. Let's see. Let's just go back. We can leave right here on the depth chart. So some of the strengths for the Los Angeles Rams. The main one for me is having Sean McVay. Sean McVay, just his ability to call plays and orchestrate an offense at the highest level is, I mean, top 3 in the league as far as the offense goes. So it's definitely a strength. Having a Hall of Fame quarterback under center who can be a top 5 quarterback at any given time of the season is a strength. I mean, we know he doesn't scramble. He attempted a scramble rush on just 3 of his 548 dropbacks this past season, which is 0.5%, the lowest scramble rate in the league. I mean, Tom Brady was doing more than this. I mean, he was only sacked on 5% of his dropbacks, though, second lowest rate of his career, and that was in 2021, which was 4.7%. So, I mean, the offensive line kept him up. He didn't really need to scramble because he wasn't getting sacked. He did roll out some. He had 67 design rollouts, second most in the NFL, actually. So I say some, but it was actually a lot. Completing 72% of those passes for over 400 yards and the most touchdowns in the league, 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Other strengths on this team is the offensive weaponry. You have Puka Nacua, wide receiver 1 that we've discussed already plenty. I mean, from week 8 on last year, he led all receivers with a target rate of almost 40%. He had the 4th most receiving yards, 3rd most receiving yards over expected, almost 200 over expected. The 4th most first downs with 46. I mean, this guy's just the focal point of this offense. He forces we know how he makes people miss. He forced missed tackles on 1 out of every 4 plays, 1 out of his every 4 touches this season, the 5th highest among all wide receivers. I mean, we think about Cooper Kupp kind of being the same type player, but he only made players miss on 10% of his touches. Devontae Adams, we've talked about already, who is wide receiver 2 on this offense. Kyron Williams, the bell cow. He was drafted like what? Yeah, 5th round. I was about to say 6th round, but I mean, he was a 5th rounder, and he has come in. Was that his rookie season? He came in and started getting some run, and then ever since then, he's just taken over. That was last year. Remember around this time last year, we were getting the reports that Kyron Williams was going to be fielding punts and kickoffs, and that was the craziest thing I'd ever heard, and people believed it. I mean, it was being reported, and he never saw any. Like I said, he's a bell cow running back. He played on 843 snaps last year, the most of any running back in the NFL. And he's played, and since 2023, so the last 2 seasons, he's played on at least 80% or more of the offensive snaps in 20 games, which is 5 more than the next closest running back, which is Saquon. So when he's on the field, he's staying on the field. From week 11 on, he averaged almost 5 yards per carry and had the 5th most rushing yards over expected. So as the season went on, he just improved. Even though he was getting a lot of run, it didn't really affect him. Also having Terrence Ferguson as your tight end 2 behind Tyler Higbee, I mean, they just have an embarrassment of riches on the offensive side of the ball. The offensive line would be a strength if Larry Jackson is able to play. If so, that's definitely going to, I mean, we're going to say that's going to add or subtract a win for them if Larry Jackson is on the field for the entirety of the season, hoping he will be able to play with the blood clots. Their offensive line was great last year. The front 4 is behind Sean McVay, maybe the biggest strength of this team. I mean, they are just ridiculous. All those players could start anywhere in the league. When you look like Jared Verse and Braden Fisk, who they both drafted last year, Verse had 76 pressures, the second most by any rookie since 2018, who was Nick Bosa. Braden Fisk had a pressure rate of 10.9%, the second highest by a rookie defensive tackle in a season since 2018. They combined for 120 pressures, which is the most by a rookie teammate since 2018, and they beat who was the best, which was Byron Young and Kobe Turner, 110 from the season before. So the last 2 seasons, they've set records for their rookie number of pressures, and all 4 of them are on the field together now. Kobe Turner, like I said, I mean nobody on this front 4 is really a scrub at this point. Weaknesses on this team, the secondary for sure. The secondary issues and linebacker, like we discussed earlier, are covered up by the front 4 being able to get pressure at the level they do. The youth on the back end, I mean, they bring in Emmanuel Forbes. I mean, if he's getting playing time, that shows you how bad this back end of this defense really is doing. They didn't add anyone in the draft. They have some undrafted free agents that they're going to try to get some run out of. I do like Kobe Durant. I do like Quentin Lake. Sorry, I mean you get some highlights out of some of these players, but these are no players that you're writing home about. Their explosive run rate that I mentioned earlier. Another weakness is third downs. They had the 5th fewest yards to go on third downs for the entire season at 6.6 yards to go average on third down. However, they were 24th in conversion rate, 36.8% conversion rate. So we're in the bottom 4th of the league in conversion rate, but in the top 4th in yards remaining to get the first down. And just couldn't do it. So they got to get better on third down. What's the issue there? I don't know, because the offense is great the entirety of the rest of the game. Cap situation. $294 million committed, 7th least in the league. A lot of their cap issues are dead cap. They have $51 million dead cap hit this season. That's the 9th most. I mean, a majority of that is to Cup, Noteboom. They also lost Jonah Jackson, but he wasn't playing. They trade him away. And Aaron Donald. They're still playing, have a dead cap hit on Aaron Donald. The top contracts that they have to pay this year, Matthew Stafford, Kevin Dotson, Devontae Adams, Rob Havenstein, and Tutu Atwell was actually the 5th highest player. I mean, they don't have a lot on the books outside of Matthew Stafford. It's just they really need to have some of these draft picks hit and the secondary get better. But anyways, they still have $21 million in cap space, which is 20th most. When you look at who's available in free agency still, I mean, this would probably be quite the surprise. But if they were able to sign Asante Samuel Jr., assuming that he's healthy, oh my God, that would do wonders for the secondary. I would love to see that. He just put him in, throw him out there on the island and let it go. All right, looking at their schedule. Let's get to their schedule. Still got another team to go through. They have 49.1% opponent win percentage this year, which is 16th in the league. So right in the middle of strength of schedule. The problem is they travel almost 35,000 miles this year. And that's second only to the Chargers. So they have the second most miles, and they also have an international game, and they will cross an NFL high 44 time zones this season. So not good for the Rams. Week 1, they play the Texans. That's a great opener. This front 4 should eat all throughout this game. If they don't have 6+ sacks, then they lose against that offensive line. So count that as a win. At Tennessee, we don't have to discuss the discrepancy in talent there. At Philadelphia, that's going to be a tough one, a rematch from the divisional round where they lost on that last drive. The Colts, they should beat the Colts for sure, regardless of Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones being the starting quarterback. Week 5, Sunday Night Football against San Francisco. If they want the division, they should win this. Week 6 at Baltimore, that's going to be a tough one to win for sure. Anytime you play against Baltimore in any location. At Jacksonville, international game, they should win it. But international games, you never know what you're going to get. Have the bye after that, which is common after You have an international game. Week 9, New Orleans. New Orleans may be the worst team in the league. Week 10 at San Francisco. Let's just say they split that. Seattle. Let's say they split that one too. They should win both, but say they split it. It's a tough division. Tampa Bay Sunday Night Football in Week 12. That's going to be who can get to 60 points first. Carolina Week 13 should get that one. Arizona, they should beat. Detroit's going to be a tough one. Seattle, we said they're going to split on Thursday Night Football in Week 16. Atlanta, they should win. And say they split against Arizona too. With that there, that I have them going 10-7 right there. 11-6 actually, 11-6 with that schedule prediction that we just quickly ran through. 11-6 is probably around the sixth best record in the NFL by season's end. So what I also do with these teams is, let's go back here, is go look at the sports books and see who has the best odds as far as MVP, all the awards basically. Let's just go through all the awards. MVP, Stafford is actually 14th in odds at plus 3,500 MVP. Offensive Player of the Year, the best odds were for Puka at plus 2,000. I want to say it was like 8th best odds. If he stays healthy, I mean, it's that just makes that number even better. Defensive Player of the Year, Jared Verse is all the way up to 6th at plus 1,500, just going into his second year, which is crazy. I mean, I know he's good, but my Lord, having the 6th best odds is wild. Terrence Ferguson was their best offensive Rookie of the Year at plus 8,000. I just don't foresee that unless he's just Tyler Higbee's hurt and he's on the field from week 3 on or so. Chris Paul Jr. was their best defensive player as far as defensive player of the year. Possible. He could be on the field. He could be a starter week 1. Plus 10,000 though. Sean McVay plus 2,500 coach of the year. I believe he would have to go around 13-3. 13-4 to get coach of the year. I mean, he's old news. You know the media basically runs these awards, and it's just not going to be in his favor. He's been here too long. Most improved player on this team, the secondary as a whole. Like I said, they got covered up a lot by that front 4, so it's hard to assess them truly, but I would say the secondary, I mean, outside of that, I mean, front 4 doesn't need to. Linebacker, maybe. Drop-off candidates, front 4 as well, because what they did last year was just beyond amazing, and it's going to be hard to replicate that level of play. But I mean, they have the talent for sure. The talent is definitely there. X factors on this team, Alaric Jackson. That's easy. An easy choice for me to choose and say, sorry. X factors for the Los Angeles Rams is simply Alaric Jackson, the left tackle who was up and coming, had a great season last year, and had signed a new contract to stay in Los Angeles. It's now a toss-up as to if he's going to play in 2025. And being that that anchor on the left side of the offensive line for Matthew Stafford, when we know he has to be upright at all times for this offense to thrive, we need him to come back healthy and it not be DJ Humphries. DJ Humphries is a serviceable player, but he is not Alaric Jackson. So the X factor for this team is probably his health and availability. He could cost this team over a whole season 1 to 2 games if he's not able to go by week 1. Outcomes for this team, the highest of highs, Alaric Jackson plays. The offense is top 3 in the league, top 5 at worst. The defense gets average play out of their secondary. The front 4 is top 3 or better. The offense overall, like I said, is probably around top 5 or better. The defense is, let's just say they're average, top 12. If you get that and Matthew Stafford gets on a heater late in the season, you now have a team that we saw last year. They were 1 play away from being in the NFC Championship. And then, I mean, it's a toss-up as to who's winning out of them and the Commanders. So the sky's the limit. Like, I mean, if at season's end, if you tell me, oh, the Rams are Super Bowl champions, I'm gonna tell you, oh, well, Matthew Stafford, he heated up late in the season. This front four was unstoppable. The pairing of Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams was also unstoppable for any defensive scheme. That's best case. Worst case scenario, Noah Larry Jackson really hurts this team. Kyron Williams can't continue to be on the field as much as he is. The injury bug just runs through him. I mean, that's with any team, though. I mean, the offense, the floor is probably top 10, honestly. Unless Matthew Stafford starts regressing, I just don't see it dropping off that much. But top 10 is probably the floor. The defense, the secondary worries me. Everything but the front four. If the front four drops to being a top 8 group in the league, the defense may be 20th average overall. And at that point, in a division with the Niners, who have a similar coach in Kyle Shanahan, similar style, and Robert Saleh being back on the defensive side of the ball, we could see the Rams finishing second, if not third, if Arizona starts to improve with what they've done to their front four. That's worst case. But what I expect is I have this team ranked number 6 for a reason. This front four is going to be nearly unstoppable. Matthew Stafford is going to play average or better all games. And then you get those 6 or 7 games where he's a top 5 quarterback in the league. I mean, he has Puka Nacua, who he has such a great rapport with at this point going into season 3. He has Devontae Adams, who is just such a smart player, such a physical, gifted athlete all around. He has the weapons. We just got to hope Larry Jackson is there to be on the field. And like I said, I had them going around 11-6, winning the division, obviously. That would put them probably around like a 3 seed or so, which is, I mean, I have them currently ranked as the 3rd best team in the NFC. And once they get in, it's just going to be dependent on how much of a heater Matthew Stafford is on. Because this front four is going to be there. The weapons are going to be there. It's just going to depend on what Matthew Stafford can do as they get in once they get into the playoffs. So that's team number 6. Yeah, 6. Make sure. Don't want to misspeak here. Team number 6. There's the rankings there, if you want to look at it. I've updated these throughout the offseason, so this is how I feel right now. 30 through 32, you could just throw them all in a bucket and pull one out. Maybe the Giants as well. The Giants are 28, and that's just because of their defense. But before we move on to team number 5, we're going to do a quick commercial break, and then we will be right back.
For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Apollos, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Do Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Do Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Do Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs.
All right, one moment, and we're going to get right back into it with team number 5. Alrighty, so team number 5. The one and only is, and this is hard to put them this low, Detroit Lions. Change this background here. Let's see. There we go. Let's get it updated for the team that we're discussing, the Leos. The Lions, 5th in the power rankings. So, by process of elimination, you can figure out that my top 4 teams, this is in no order, are the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Eagles. We'll find out over the next 2 weeks where they are actually ranked according to myself. But for the time being, the Lions are number 5. And honestly, 5-1. To me, you can make any argument to put them in any order. And I would not be just like blown away. 1 and 2, maybe a slightly above 3, 4, and 5, but 1 through 5, any of them could win the Super Bowl, and it will not be a shock to anyone, or it shouldn't be. Detroit Lions, like I said, team number 5. Okay, so last season, 15-2. I mean, they were just blowing everyone out. There was no close games, it seemed like. Even when Jared Goff had his worst game, 5 interception on what was that, Sunday or Monday Night Football, they still win. No matter what happens, they were winning every game. 15-2. Their current over-under, though, is 10.5. That is, I mean, the books are just saying, hey, you play the Bears, the Packers, and the Vikings 6 times this season, so what are you going to do against them? But 10.5 over-under. They currently have the 5th best odds to be the champs, which is right where I have them, plus 1,000. Plus 475 to win the conference, which is second best odds behind the Philadelphia Eagles. They are the favorites to win their division, but at just plus 150, so it's kind of closer than what you think. They started 12-1 last year. I mean, there was really no ups and downs for this team. They just blew everybody out. They lost I think week 2 or something, and then just went on a heater for the entirety of the season. Head coach Dan Campbell. We know the history with Dan Campbell. We know how he feels about kneecaps. We know what he's going to do with this team. He's going to get them ready each and every week. Somehow this man has the best motivational speeches every single week of the entire season. New to this team are both coordinators. Offensive coordinator is now John Morton. Defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard. Both Ben Johnson, who we've been waiting for him to leave for years, are expecting him to leave each and every year. Finally out the door, goes to the division rival in the Bears. Kelvin Shepard steps up and is now defensive coordinator. Time for the that is not the correct team. The Detroit Lions depth chart. So, starting on the offensive side of the ball, and like I say for each one, if you're unfamiliar with what you're looking at these depth charts, the yellowish orange are the free agents that they signed in the offseason. The magenta, pink, purple, whatever color that is those are the draftees from this year, and the tealish green color are the undrafted free agents. This is definitely the fewest undrafted free agents I've seen on any team, on any depth chart since I've been doing this, and we're at 32 all the way to 5, so we've done 28 teams now. So, additions, starting on the offensive side of the ball. No real noteworthy free agent signings. They get some depth at center. I mean, that's it. This team is running it back, and I mean, why wouldn't they with all the weapons that they had last year? Defensive side of the ball, not many changes either. I mean, they go out and do make a big splashy signing by getting DJ Reed, 3-year, $48 million contract, which was 18th in average value at the time of signing. You look at his season last year, he was better than Sauce Gardner, who just broke the bank with his signing in New York. So them getting DJ Reed and replacing him from what they had in Carlton Davis, tough for them to lose Carlton Davis, but I do feel that as though they upgraded by getting DJ Reed. I'll talk about that more as we go on. But I mean, other than that, how many of these other players they signed is going to see the field? Grant Stewart, probably not much. He's buried behind the injured Malcolm Rodriguez, Jack Campbell, and Alex Anzalone. So, yeah, we know how that's going to work out. Avonte Maddox, he may see some work in the secondary. Situationally, maybe. But when we look at their draft, and they had a draft, one of impact, honestly. I mean, this is a very impactful draft for them, being a team that drafted as late as they did. They definitely had some impactful picks. First off, I did not expect them to take Tyleik Williams, the nose tackle, out of Ohio State. His NFL comp is B.J. Hill. Last year he had 100 tackles, 18 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks over the last 2 years. He's big and strong enough to occupy doubles. I mean, he's just a gap filler. And if you watch him, he does get off late to eventually get to the passer. So he's got a little bit of that in his game also. But when you look at this team, them stopping the run was one of their issues, which we're going to talk about in a moment. So the more you dig into the numbers, the less surprising it is that they went out and got Tyleik Williams in the first round. Second round, they get Tate Ratledge, the long flowing hair from Georgia, who is now expected to be their starting center, which is a lot to ask for a rookie player. But here we are. Going to be interesting. We're going to talk about Frank Ragnow in a minute, but Tate Ratledge is there. I'm guessing he's going to be starting at center. That was their second round. Third round, they go get a wide receiver. I mean, why are they getting a wide receiver? Maybe to replace Jameson Williams later on. But I mean, that's the gist of their draft. Of note, they get another wide receiver in the seventh round, another guard in the fifth round. I mean, Jared Goff is of the same ilk of Matthew Stafford that he has to be upright for this offense to be functional. He is not a scrambler. He is terrible under pressure, which we will talk about momentarily. But yeah, they get Ahmed Hassanin out of Boise State in the sixth round. Curious to see what he does. Love to see him do something. Players that they lost. First and foremost, Frank Ragnow. I posted a video the other day or yesterday ranking the five most impactful retirements of 2024 going into 2025, and Frank Ragnow was number one. His ability to call out or set up protections, call out blitzes, the rapport he had with Jared Goff is going to be something that is definitely lost. Not forgetting what he did in the run game and pass protection. So him being gone is a huge hit to the Detroit Lions. Defensive side of the ball, they lose Zadarius Smith, who they signed. They saved $6 million. He was a good pass rusher. They lost Carlton Davis, who I talked about earlier, but they replaced him with DJ Reed, so it's not really a net loss. Strength on this team, the offense as a whole. They had the shortest third down to go in the NFL. I mean, the offense, we know what this offense did. It was just rolling at all times. No one could stop them at all. I mean, they were just amazing for the entirety of the season. Jared Goff, I mean, he had the most wins by any quarterback who did not draft that quarterback on that team. I mean, he was just amazing. You could go on and on about his stats. Amon-Ra St. Brown, their wide receiver one, he had 27 first downs against the blitz this season, which tied Mike Evans for the most. I mean, he was just Jared Goff's go-to target whenever you need somebody to get to the sticks. Right at the sticks, you just picture Amon-Ra St. Brown just catching, falling right there at the sticks so many times in the 2024 season. Jahmyr Gibbs, I mean, this guy is just absolutely ridiculous. It kind of hurt me internally that they extended David Montgomery. I mean, I just want to see Jahmyr Gibbs for one full season get the workload, be the bell cow, because this guy is just otherworldly with his talent. I mean, we could see 2,000, let's say 1,800 rush yards, 700-800 receiving yards, 100 receptions. I don't know. I feel like he could just there is no stat limit on what he could do. He gained 10 or more yards, which is an explosive play on the ground, on 16% of his carries. That's one out of every six, roughly. One out of every six carries were 10 or more yards. Most in the league, obviously. Then they also have David Montgomery that I spoke of. I mean, he and Jahmyr Gibbs ranked first and second from carries from under center in success rate, 48 and 47%. I mean, this team was just ridiculous all around. Jameson Williams, the deep threat. He definitely improved in his second season. No, that was his third season. Third season. 573 receiving yards on passes with play action, second most in the NFL, just 4 behind Ladd McConkey. I mean, they just have a plethora of weapons. Laporta's a weapon. I mean, he could be putting up 1,000 yards easy every season on another team who had less receiving threats on the field. The offensive line was a strength for sure. They do lose Ragnow, which we talked about. The run game should be fine. It was great to me that they were able to keep Hank Fraley as the offensive line coach, so they have some continuity. They did lose a lot of coaches. They lose Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn. They lose Tanner Engstrand, who was the pass game coordinator, who follows Aaron Glenn to New York. I'm just curious to see how much play action we're going to see. They were number one under Ben Johnson last year with play action. The defense is a strength, especially if Aiden Hutchinson is healthy. They were dead last in adjusted games lost on defense. So, I mean, and they were still like an average defense with all these backups. They were fourth in DVOA versus the pass. Let's see. Hold on. Let me back up a little bit. Let's go full screen for this. A strength for the Detroit Lions would be the defense. The defense is a strength if Aiden Hutchinson comes back and can be 100% like he was prior to the leg injury in 2024. They were dead last in adjusted games lost by their defensive side of the ball. But they were still able to produce an average defense on the field. They were fourth in DVOA versus the pass, sixth in EPA per play allowed. They have players outside of Aiden Hutchinson like Aleem McNeil, who is so underrated, especially in the run game, stopping the run. They have their linebackers who they caught so much from the media, sports media that is, and drafting Jack Campbell as early as they did 2 years ago. And he is what they projected him to be already. Amazing fit alongside Alex Anzalone. They also have Malcolm Rodriguez, third linebacker on this group. The secondary, they now have DJ Reed, who is an improvement from Carlton Davis. They still have Terrion Arnold. They have Ennis Rakestraw, Amik Robinson. I mean, this team can excel, especially with this defense also being a top 10 unit, just like the offense is. I mean, you look at Jack Campbell last year. He tackled opposing rushers for a loss of EPA 48 times on 277 run snaps. That's the second highest run stop rate amongst all players with 200 snaps on run defense. So, I mean, this guy was, like I said, he's already great. They don't have to blitz every play now that Aiden Hutchinson is back. They were 13th in yards allowed per play when they did blitz, but 29th whenever they didn't. I mean, it was a huge drop-off. Dan Campbell being here is a strength. They have one of the best safety rooms. Like I was talking about the defense, they didn't even bring up Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. Kirby Joseph led the league in interceptions last year with 9. Brian Branch is just everywhere on the field. Whatever you need him to do, he's there. They're just all around amazing. Weaknesses. Losing. They also lost Kevin Zeitler. I forgot about him. Frank Ragnow. Ragnow was a top 2 center in the NFL. Now you got Tate Ratledge. Them losing both coordinators is definitely it may hurt them early in the season, but I feel like the foundation is there for them to be fine later in the season in the grand scheme of things. So I won't be surprised if they do not come out hot to start the season. The run stuff, weakness, like I said earlier, that's why they went and got Tyleek Williams in the first round. They were 31st in yards before contact per carry. So that means they gave up next to most yards before the opposing player was contacted whenever they ran the ball. But they were first in yards after contact. So whenever they started touching them, they were getting them down. That's thanks to Jack Campbell, Alex Anzalone a lot. Weakness for his team is Jared Goff under pressure. He's second in QBR whenever he's in a clean pocket, but 20th whenever he's pressured. And when he was pressured on third down, he was 31st in QBR. And that QBR was at a number of 1.8. 1.8. That's it. Cap situation, $290 million committed, 5th least. They're still set up for the future when they got to pay Aiden Hutchinson soon. Top 5 players this year as far as contract: Goff, Decker, Amon-Ra, Reader, and Hutchinson. DJ Reader. $48 million in cap space. I mean, there's no who are they signing? Who are they gonna bring in that's gonna be better than what they already have? Asante Samuel Jr. and that's it. There's nobody else available in free agency that they could go get. But that cap space, they're also keeping They're going to be paying Aiden Hutchinson probably soon. $24 million in dead cap. That's between Carlton Davis, Cam Sutton, and Frank Ragnow. Looking at their schedule. Oop, that's not their schedule. This is their schedule. They have the second hardest strength of schedule in the league. Opponent win percentage of 57.1. They were the fourth team since 2000 to win 6 primetime games in a single season, and they're 11-2 in primetime games under Dan Campbell, which is the best of any team since 2021. All right, week 1 at Green Bay. They've dominated them as of late. Chicago, I don't think they're up to it yet. Baltimore, that's going to be a toss-up. Cleveland, they should win. Cincinnati, they don't have Trey Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart. Yeah, they're not. I don't care how good the offense is. Kansas City, let's say they split between Kansas City and Baltimore. Tampa Bay should win a bye Monday Night Football. Minnesota, let's say they split it. Week 10, we're at Washington. That's going to be a tough one. Detroit became the first team in NFL history to lose a playoff game when having 300 or more pass yards, 200 or more rush yards, as well as the second 15-win team to lose their first playoff game. So, not ideal. Philadelphia, I mean, they got a tough schedule here. Counted as a loss. Sunday Night Football. New York Giants should win that one. Green Bay, like I said, they dominated as of late. Dallas, they should win. The Rams, yeah. Pittsburgh, yeah. Minnesota, we said they're going to split. And if they might sweep the Chicago Bears. So, I mean, those final 3 games are really going to play an important role for them. I mean, especially the final 2 in the division. But, I mean, that puts them at around at about 13-4 is what I'm projecting. I mean, they have the second hardest strength of schedule. So, I mean, 12-5 wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility, especially if the teams in the NFC North just continue to beat up on each other and nobody ever really jumps out in a huge lead as far as the record goes. I mean, first place could be 12-5 and last place could be 7-10. Could we see something where we have 8-9, 9-8, 10-7, 11-6? I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility because at the end of the season, if you tell me, every team split against every other team in the division, least surprising thing. There's tiers to these teams because I have them ranked. Let's see. I have Detroit at 5, Green Bay at 9, Minnesota at 13, and Chicago at 16. So this has to be I had to look at it and add it all up, but it's maybe the highest ranked division average for any division in NFL. I'm looking here. The Raiders are too low. They take out this one for the AFC West. Commanders. Yeah, it's probably the highest ranked division that I have. Okay. So, like I did with the Rams earlier, went through and looked at which players were most likely to get MVP, not most improved player, MVP, and all the other awards. Jared Goff's at plus 3,000. I just don't know how he can improve enough on his stat line to be able to get MVP. I mean, he'd had to put up 60 touchdowns. I mean, he was so great last year, and he didn't get it last year. So, I mean, he has too many weapons around him too. Jahmyr Gibbs has second best odds as Offensive Player of the Year. The only thing that's going to hold him back is the number of touches he gets in comparison to David Montgomery. But they put so many points on the scoreboard every single week that he has the opportunity to still get touches in this offense. Aiden Hutchinson had the best odds for Defensive Player of the Year, which I thought was beyond me. Is he a great player? Absolutely. But he's coming off of a broken leg. And he has the best odds. I mean, maybe because Myles Garrett, the fatigue is there. Patrick Surtain, I think I want to say he's like plus 2,000, plus 3,000. I mean, he just won. Nobody wants to see it again, maybe. But plus 650 best odds was wild to me. The rookie wide receiver had the best offensive player of the year. He's not having it. Tyleek Williams, plus 5,000. If he can come in and be a run stopper early and often for this team, could get him up there. But, I mean, a defensive tackle is going to be hard for him to get Defensive Player of the Year. Dan Campbell at plus 2,200. He had better odds than Sean McVay for Coach of the Year. I don't know how it happens. They'd have to go 17-0, honestly. 16-1 might would get it, but I mean, they've already proven that they're a great regular season team. So it would be hard for me to be convinced that the voters would give it to Dan Campbell. Most improved player on this team, the health of the team, the personal trainer, the health side of the Detroit Lions. Drop off candidates, Kirby Joseph. Am I saying he's going to be a bad player? Absolutely not. But you know how hard it is to get 9 interceptions in a season? You know how hard it is to do that in back-to-back seasons? Just don't see it. X factor, the health of this team. We've already discussed this ad nauseum. Best outcome for this team? Winning the Super Bowl. I mean, obviously, the best outcome for the Detroit Lions is to win the Super Bowl. Is that feasible? Absolutely. Did they lose both coordinators? Yes. Is that going to hurt them to start the beginning of the season? Possibly, and very likely. It may make them go 3-1 instead of 4-0, but the foundation that Dan Campbell has laid in Detroit is going to stay there. These players are the same players that are returning. They did not lose anyone of note outside of Frank Ragnow. They lost Carlton Davis, but they replaced him with DJ Reed, who is a better player in my opinion. So with that said, this offense should be a top 3 group. No regression, not enough regression to be lower than top 3. The defense, they were average last year, and that's with the most adjusted games lost on that side of the ball in the NFL. You get Aiden Hutchinson back. They drafted Tyleik Williams. They have the best safety room in the NFL between Kirby Joseph, who led the league in interceptions last year, and Brian Branch, who is just all over the field wherever you need him to be. You pair all that with a second-year Terrion Arnold, DJ Reed, like I already mentioned, outstanding linebacker core in Jack Campbell and Alex Anzalone. A top 5 is possible for this team, too, on the defensive side of the ball. So if you have a top 3 offense, top 5 defense, you should be in the Super Bowl. And that's what I do expect as a real possibility for the Detroit Lions in 2025. On the other side of that, worst case scenario, I think the floor for this team is probably 10-7 at worst, and I don't know what would happen for them to get 10-7. But my realistic and best outcome are pretty close. I mean, if 2 less players get hurt last year, they could be in the Super Bowl and they could be champions, and they could be number 1. They're only number 5, partly because they lost their coordinators. I mean, like, you could argue for them to be higher, and I wouldn't really have much pushback outside of maybe 1 or 2 teams. But if you put them 3, sure, sounds good to me. But that's what I think for the Detroit Lions. So, to recap, we are now all the way to the top 4. 2 more teams next week, and then 2 more the following week. And then we're going to start previewing the 2025 season, ranking positional groups, etc., etc. So, I want to thank everybody at Do Media, Do Champions. If you're a Buffalo Bills fan, that's what they focus on, what we focus on at Do Champions, Do Media. Please give them a follow on every social media account at Do Champions, especially on YouTube, where this is streamed along with Twitch, Facebook, X, Kick. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. This episode will be reposted. It was already live as well. It will be on Apple Podcasts within a day or so. And until then, we are 47 days, 48 days from NFL kickoff, which hopefully will not be a blowout between the Cowboys and the Eagles. But until then, like, follow, subscribe. Let me know what I can do better. Always trying to improve. And we will catch you next week for teams 3 and 4. I wonder what everyone thinks. I would like to know what everyone's rankings are of the top 4 teams. I mean, I feel like it's a consensus 4 or 5 in the top 4 and 5 between everybody. 5 for sure. I mean, we got the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs, Eagles, and the Lions top 5. I'm curious what most people's takes would be on that. I mean, I feel like it could be pretty close. I mean, like, it's a real argument. I mean, the Chiefs are getting Rashee Rice back, maybe. They have Patrick Mahomes. Their offensive line's a little reshuffled. Uh, they still have Steve Spagnuolo. I mean, it's just hard to argue against that team whenever they still have Patrick Mahomes. He just can't be stopped for the majority of the time. The Eagles just won the Super Bowl. They basically have the same team minus the front four. But, I mean, we saw what they just did, so it's hard to count them out. Detroit Lions, we just discussed ad nauseum. Buffalo Bills had one of the best offseason, signing the litany of players that they did. Missing maybe just a wide receiver, one X receiver. The Ravens, man, this team, their team on paper is quite easily. I mean, if you don't have them one, you have them two on paper for sure. As far as their roster goes, they filled every hole. That secondary, they get rid of Brandon Stevens, add Jair Alexander. They did lose Ardarius Washington to the injury, but then they add Malachi Starks. I mean, this team is just ridiculous. We already know what the offense is. So we will discuss those 4 teams over the next 2 weeks. Like I said, be sure to like, subscribe, let me know what I do, good, bad, and we'll see you then.